The British tabloids are at it again. This time, their favourite target, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has done something entirely ordinary for most celebrities, but apparently scandalous in the eyes of the Daily Mail. She made a small on-screen appearance. And, as expected, the Daily Mail's outrage dial went straight to maximum. You could practically feel the frustration oozing through their article, their writers typing furiously, wondering how they could twist this into yet another crisis moment. Their headline read something along the lines of, "Returning to acting was never part of Meghan's plan. Has she resumed her Hollywood career out of financial panic?" Let's pause on that for a second, because this is vintage tabloid storytelling, full of drama, speculation, and of course a dash of bitterness. The idea that Meghan Markle, now Meghan Sussex, would somehow be desperate to act again because she and Harry are allegedly running out of money. It's almost funny. Here's the thing, Meghan has always had a plan. She's strategic, intentional, and ambitious. She doesn't do things on a whim. The tabloids like to pretend they can see through her every decision, but, truthfully, they've been wrong at nearly every turn. When she and Prince Harry stepped back from royal duties, remember the predictions? Financial ruin, Hollywood rejection, isolation in California. None of that happened. Instead, the Sussexes built a life that's more meaningful, creative, and, yes, lucrative than anyone in the British media wanted to admit. They've signed major partnerships, launched successful projects, and maintained global influence, all while being parents and advocates for causes they actually believe in. So, to suggest that Meghan's return to the screen is some sort of panic move, please, that's wishful thinking from people who still can't process that she left the palace and thrived. Now, the real kicker came when the Daily Mail tried to get a comment from Meghan's team. Her office reportedly declined to explain why she chose the project, describing it as a distinctly C-list film. And that right there tells you everything you need to know. C-list? Really? That's not journalism, that's jealousy dressed up as reporting. Because, let's be honest, any project Meghan touches immediately gains global attention. Her involvement elevates it. Fans want to see it, media outlets cover it, streaming platforms benefit from it. Meanwhile, tabloids like the Daily Mail are left sulking in the corner, pretending it's insignificant, while secretly counting the clicks her name brings them. And Meghan's team handled it perfectly. No response, no energy wasted, just silence, the most powerful mic drop imaginable. This C-list insult is actually revealing. It shows that the British press still hasn't learned how to handle Meghan's power, because she doesn't play their game, she doesn't chase their approval, she doesn't feed their outrage machine. Instead, she simply acts, creates, builds, and moves forward. That's silence. It's not indifference, it's strategy. Why dignify a headline written to provoke when your work speaks for itself? You know what's particularly fascinating? The double standard at play here. When other members of the royal family engage in creative or commercial ventures, it's celebrated as modernizing the monarchy or building their brand. But when Meghan does it, suddenly it's evidence of desperation, poor judgment, or some kind of crisis. Think about it, if a different duchess appeared in a documentary or lent her voice to a cause, the headlines would gush about her dedication and star power. But Meghan, she gets accused of attention-seeking, money-grabbing, or losing her way. The hypocrisy is staggering, and fans see it clearly. And let's address the elephant in the room, the racial undertones that consistently colour this coverage. Because when you look at how Meghan is covered versus other royal women, the pattern becomes unmistakable. Her ambition is called calculating. Her confidence is labelled arrogant. Her silence is twisted into secrecy. These are age-old stereotypes dressed up in modern tabloid speak, and the public is tired of it. More and more people are calling out this biased coverage for what it is not legitimate journalism, but targeted harassment disguised as news. Now, let's talk about how fans responded, because the public mood couldn't be more different from the tabloid hysteria. Social media has been overflowing with excitement, admiration and pride. One fan wrote, "Meghan has such natural charisma on camera, you can't fake that. The confidence, the warmth, the presence, she lights up the screen." Another fan said, "It's amazing how a successful American actress, now a duchess, continues to live rent-free in the minds of royal traditionalists. Her success bothers only those who can't match it." And someone else commented, "She doesn't need money. She's doing what she loves." That's the real story, a woman reclaiming her art on her own terms. That's what makes Meghan's journey resonate. Fans see a woman who's not desperate or calculating, but rather someone following her creative instincts and doing it gracefully. When you look closely, it's fascinating how the narratives have flipped. Tabloids try to paint Meghan as struggling for relevance. But the truth? She creates relevance. She doesn't have to ask for attention, it follows her. And that drives her critics absolutely wild. The more she succeeds, the louder their bitterness becomes. But bitterness isn't power. Bitterness is a confession. It says, we can't control this story anymore. This is what makes Meghan's media strategy so masterful. She doesn't debate them. She doesn't correct every lie. She lets them talk, and their own words expose their insecurity. Every time they mock her, she wins by simply staying silent and productive. That's what power looks like in 2025. She's no longer just a public figure. She's a brand, a movement, and an example of how to rise above toxic coverage with grace. It's also important to remember that Meghan and Harry's success story didn't come overnight. They worked for it long hours, constant scrutiny, every move dissected. And yet they never folded. Instead, they diversified. They built Archewell, launched media projects, championed philanthropy, and created space for honest, compassionate storytelling. This latest acting cameo isn't a regression, it's evolution. It's Meghan reconnecting with something she genuinely loves without needing permission or validation. And here's another thing worth mentioning, the business intelligence behind Meghan's choices. She's not just acting for the sake of nostalgia. She's strategically positioning herself at the intersection of entertainment, advocacy, and entrepreneurship. Every appearance, every project, every partnership reinforces her brand identity as someone who can move seamlessly between different worlds. Hollywood, she's already proven herself there. Philanthropy, Archewell speaks to that. Cultural influence, her voice carries weight globally. This isn't someone scrambling for opportunities, this is someone curating them. The tabloids want to reduce it to desperate actress returns to acting. But the reality is far more sophisticated. She's building a portfolio of influence that will outlast any single royal connection or tabloid obsession. Let's take a step back and think about the psychology here. Why does Meghan provoke such strong reactions? Because she challenges the traditional script, the one that says royal women must be silent, decorative and dependent. She's none of those things. She speaks, acts, builds and decides for herself. And that, to certain segments of the press, is unforgivable. They can't control her narrative anymore. So what do? They fabricate new ones about money, status or desperation, hoping something sticks. But fans see through it. They see authenticity. They see joy. They see independence. And honestly, there's something poetic about it. Every C-list insult or financial panic headline only makes Meghan more iconic. Because true icons don't need the approval of bitter critics. Their work, integrity and presence speak for them. Think about it, if Meghan's cameo were truly insignificant, would every major British tabloid be covering it? Would her name still dominate online searches years after leaving the royal family? Of course not. They follow her because she moves culture. Now, let's talk impact. For every snide headline, there are thousands of fans, writers, artists, professionals who draw strength from her example. They see a woman who has faced public cruelty and emerged stronger. A woman who rebuilt her career and family life in her own image. That's not desperation, that's empowerment. And whether she's producing documentaries, voicing campaigns, or making cameo appearances, she's redefining success on her own terms. So, where does this leave us? The tabloids still grind their teeth, wondering how she keeps winning. But the truth is simple. Meghan doesn't fight their wars. She outgrows them. She's not part of their world anymore, and that's exactly what unsettles them. The C-list label was meant as an insult, but it backfired beautifully. It revealed just how threatened they are by a woman who doesn't need their approval. So, the next time you see a headline screaming, "Is Meghan acting again because she and Harry are out of money?" Remember, that's not reporting. That's resentment. Meghan doesn't owe them answers. Her silence, her choices, and her continued success are all the response needed. She's thriving, evolving, and inspiring millions, all while those same outlets recycle the same tired lines. And that's why we'll keep celebrating her. Meghan Sussex continues to live her truth, unapologetically. Every project she takes on becomes part of a much bigger picture, one of resilience, independence, and power. The tabloids may call it a C-list cameo. We call it confidence. And if they can't handle that, well, that's their problem, not hers. So, to everyone watching, keep that Meghan energy alive. Move forward boldly, stay focused on your craft, and never let bitterness define your story. Because as Meghan's journey proves, success built on integrity always outlasts noise.